Welcome to the Healing Pod. I'm Megan, a licensed clinical psychologist.
And I'm Jessica, a licensed clinical social worker, and this is our journey of navigating anxiety as we learn to take up space and create an environment where we feel that we can belong.
Join us together as we learn not just to survive, but to thrive in our anxious brains.
This podcast is intended for educational and informational purposes only. It is not a substitute for professional therapy or medical advice. If you are experiencing any mental health concerns, please seek support from a qualified mental health professional or healthcare provider. Remember, your mental health is important, and seeking personalized professional help is key to your well-being.
And welcome back. It has been yet another week for the two of us here. But that's okay. The weeks we have choose what topics we talk about. It just seems to be the way right now.
Pretty
much. She just has a lovely background because she's actually in her house for once instead of just in her office.
Mm-hmm.
And we're both yes. In your house is nice. It's good to have the quiet.
It is. And there's air conditioning in here.
Okay. Yeah, that definitely helps a lot. It's not quite autumn cool yet here, but we're still, in the 60s. It's not bad.
We're still in penalties here.
Yeah, that's bad. Plus, you got the storms coming through now, too, so.
It's about to cool off for sure.
Yeah, we'll see how those hit you. Shouldn't be too. Yeah. But yeah, so I'm a little fuzzy brained and tired. I was in the car for like 11 hours yesterday, minus stops, 12, 13 hours, minus stops. It's quick. It's probably 11, I don't know. Yeah, but we had a scattering of ashes celebration of life with my family for my grandparents who have both died over the past couple of years. And then just had a big loss this weekend too. So we decided, you know what? Grief and anxiety, that is a topic.
Mm-hmm. For sure. A very fitting one, I think, for us. And it seems like when all those lemons fall, they all fall on us both at the same time.
They seem to. And then we just say, here we go. I have lemons and no sugar. And just kind of stare at each other, start juggling them back and forth and seeing what we can do.
Yeah. We gave up on sugar and we brought the vodka.
There you go. What with the lemon drop martinis instead, which are quite delightful. Promise it's just tea tonight, guys.
I can grab a drink tonight, friends.
Oh my gosh, how dare you?
I know, it's terrible.
Well, hopefully the AC will keep you nice and cool so you don't need as much.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, friends. So we have decided to kind of navigate what that intersection of loss and anxiety looks like when navigating grief and finding closure and how we cope with that, right? Because sometimes that grief comes back around and hits us all over again in a different way when it's time for that closure that we kind of put off for whatever reason was necessary.
Because we're humans and we like avoiding pain?
Yeah, probably that too. And then, you have the like the organizational aspect of it. So like in your situation of getting all your family together and going through all of that.
It was a lot. There was 18 of us all together and at least 4 other people that just couldn't make it last minute. A little more.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so there was a lot. So it's and because there's that aspect of it. There's we went and we spread ashes in the national park, so we had to get a permit for that. We had to get ashes for that. We had to make sure all the paperwork of everything we were doing. There is a lot of work when you lose a family member, and that sucks. Like you're sad and you have this loss and you have all this horrible feelings and all these memories and all this stuff you're trying to get through. And on top of it, lawyer, paperwork, dealing with the states, all of this nonsense and nobody has the mental capacity to do when you're in that state of losing someone important.
Seriously.
And then when you feel like you're not doing it right and you're behind and you can't think and you can't focus on things, hey, look, there's the anxiety of I'm not good and I'm not doing my job. And I'm very grateful it is not actually my job. And I feel a lot for my dad and his sister that have been taking care of all of this stuff because it's been a lot.
I bet. Oh, well, you guys have definitely been in my prayers while you deal with all this and finally, hopefully, get that closure that you were needing.
Very much appreciate it. Because it's closure is tricky. Closure is hard. It's definitely something that is created by where you're at in the world and your understanding of how the world works. And you can't accept it from anyone else unless it matches that feeling and that worldview that you have. So, all of the nice, trite little things people say with the loss, she's at peace now, he's in a better place, it's got to be a relief to have let go, they're with love. Like all of those beautiful, well meaning sayings are shit when you're not ready to hear them.
Mhm.
It just are. It's like, that's not the closure I need because that's not what I'm looking at my world. I'm looking at my world that had this piece in it and had this important person. And now I can't go visit them. And now I can't go there. Like my grandparents, when they were alive, they lived in Connecticut. So all of our family trips were to Connecticut to be with them and at their house. And that's where the aunts we had the cousins, and that's where we would go. And now I don't go to Connecticut anymore. I go to Massachusetts to visit the aunt. I don't go to an entire state or a house that's now sold, and it's just weird still. It's not quite settled in there yet.
Yeah. It brings so many changes to our lives when
Mhm.
we lose such an important figure that you realize really was like the glue that held us together as a family. Like that was our close point. And I feel like, and this situation that I'm currently going through with the loss, it was very recent. It was just on Saturday. But my grandmother lives across the road. So it's like every day you drive by and you see her house. And it's like, man. And I know my brother and his family are actually going to be moving into her house. And I'm struggling with that. I didn't think I would. Like, obviously, you don't want it to just like sit and rot and whatever. But I'm like, that's not your house. Why,
Mhm.
why are you moving it? That's her home. And you guys are going
Mhm.
to change it. And I'm not ready
Mhm.
to cross that bridge. So it's been causing a whole lot of anxiety, just even the talks of it. I'm like, but
Yeah.
no, can you just not just stay where you're at?
Can everything just freeze for a while so that I can process this at a slow to glacial pace?
Yeah.
It
And there's
doesn't.
that. I think that loss of attachment comes from so much more than just the person.
Mhm.
It's all the memories and the things. And I didn't even really spend a lot of time in her house. She was a very private person. Um, she spent a lot of time outside, coming over to us.
Mhm.
But it just that's her space.
Yeah. Yeah. And attachment is such a huge part that defines us. It weaves those threads through how we navigate any relationship. So when we lose these primary attachment people, these people that gave us a sense of security, that gave us a sense of my world is predictable. This
Mhm.
person always has chocolate chip cookies. This person always has a train set to show me. This person is always able to give me gardening advice. Like just those things we come to rely on and to expect and to help ground and center and stabilize our world. And when we lose that person, it's like, oh, how do I find that again? Who can I trust anyone else to do that?
No, no, we can't.
And that's why we have no friends and never found each other. But it feels like that. It really does. It's like, no, no, it's not. Chocolate chip cookies do not exist unless they are grandma's chocolate chip cookies. And we went through that where there was one frozen pack and we finally ate the last one, and that made everyone cry because it's the last of that chocolate chip cookie. And we can all
Mhm.
remake them, but it's not the same. No, it's
Exactly.
never going to be the same. Yeah.
And that's
She
hard.
Yes. Like your grandma just being outside, coming over, being around you, just everything she offered you.
Mhm.
The permission to be a private person and still engage. Yeah.
It's a lot of changes.
It is. It is. And that's, it's a lot of stress and it's a lot of anxiety. You know, I have to question the entire makeup of the world because this thing that I use to measure against isn't there right now.
Well, what about control? I don't know about you, but for me is I'm a people pleaser, which means I need control over every little aspect because how else am I going to make sure everybody's happy all of the time?
Mhm.
And between my car accident and this loss all back to back, like I have no control in my life right now.
No.
It is the anxiety from it is like coping
Mhm.
skills I've been having to therapize myself for the past few weeks.
Yes. Oh, we do practice our own coping skills. If we're telling you to do them, it's because we've done them too.
Mhm.
Uh, it is. It's and like you said earlier, these lemons seem to fall all over both of us at multiple times. So once there's that, oh wait, I'm not actually in control. I can't make everyone happy. I can't just do things and keep. Oh, and in this area, and this area, and this area, and this area. And, huh, okay, I have no control over anything. Let me just have an existential crisis and box breathing. Breathe in,
Yes.
hold, breathe out, hold. It's a
Also, don't talk
little
to me. I can't handle you talking to me right now.
people, people.
Oh, wait, that's my job. I'm supposed to listen to you talk to me.
Kinda gotta do the job part. You can always take a break. You can take breaks, but you have to be able to do your job to do your job. But yeah, that
Mhm.
it really does drive home that sense of you couldn't stop this. No matter how much you pleased everyone, no matter how much you make people happy. And there's like I said, there was 18 of us getting together for this family trip, so logistics were hard and someone's getting snippy at something. Someone didn't have enough coffee in the morning. Someone was tired. Someone was sad and didn't want to appear sad. Someone was grumpy because it wasn't working as it did in their head. And it's a lot of personalities. It's a lot of personalities that aren't getting balanced at
Mhm.
all. So there's that lack of control again. You cannot make this entire group happy. Can I just lean into saying, oh, well, it's not my fault. I can offer what I can to anyone that will accept it. I can sit there and make comments about how no one can listen to me because the three people around me are all having hearing problems. And then I look over and see someone laughing at me, and I realize that one person can hear me perfectly. And oh shit, what have I been saying? Now,
It has all come out, and they all know what is inside of Macon's head right now.
the amount of time I both accidentally and then once I realized I accidentally said it, I purposefully kept mentioning something about dead weight on the hike to scatter the ashes. It's like, huh, yeah, let's go with it. Okay. That was the open your mouth and something dumb falls out type of thing.
But you know what? I think that's how we get through, so it's okay.
It is.
It's
Because
perfectly acceptable.
if someone needs space, they can give me a look or tell me to back off or back off themselves and take space. And if someone needs that moment of this is shit and I gotta laugh at it because it's shit, they can take that
Mhm.
moment with me. And that
Exactly.
I think that's how I try to regain that balance and that sense of control. I look for something smaller like that. And I can tell it's
Mhm.
bad when I hyper focus on like a teeny tiny thing. Like if I get really stressed and suddenly I'm trying to 100% a pointless game, probably try to avoid something else.
Who you? No, they.
How do you regain that sense of control, which we don't really have? But we still don't like a challenge. What do you do?
I work.
Well,
I avoid. I sink into something to focus on other than what is actually happening around me. And I say it was a healthy coping skill, but it works.
temporarily, there is that point where you break down and stress out
Yes.
because all you're doing is holding everything so tightly and then piling more and more and more and more and more. And it's got to stay compacted in there because the second something is off kilter, yeah.
Exactly. And I do recognize I'm just really holding it all in this moment.
Mhm.
And I know it's going to hit me and it's going to hit me hard because I've been avoiding it for so long.
I mean, who knows? And I was talking to someone today, and They're also a helper. They're also in this field, and they're talking about how they do so much to try to listen to their clients and help them and do all this. And then they turn around and they feel like they shouldn't talk about their problems and just talking
Mhm.
about a problem can help. And to some degree, yes, if I just sit here and vent at you, that's not going to help unless I vent to you and I feel like you're actually listening to me and you get it and you can have that empathy and you can have that understanding because you've been somewhere similar. And suddenly
Mhm.
I'm not a freak. I'm not this person that just can't handle this thing that everyone else should be able to handle and that's completely normal. This is hard. Of course it's
Yeah,
hard. This stuff sucks.
absolutely.
Yeah. Just trying to remind ourselves that it's so much more that connection. We're feeling
Yeah.
this loss of attachment, not because it's just a person, because it's an important person, someone that meant something in our world, in our life. Ugh. Someone give us that sense. And that's what we're missing. All these spaces they used to fill, all these things we used to do with them. And then we get into all of the anxiety symptoms that grief mimics and enhances. You like sleeping? Not while you're stressed and sad. You want to talk to people because it
Yeah.
makes you feel better? Not while you're stressed and sad.
And I don't know about you, but I feel more tired.
Mhm.
Like I'm sleeping, but I'm not feeling rested.
Mhm. I am so exhausted. I'm blaming it on the travel right now, but I know it's more than that. I am just exhausted on a cellular level. Every
Yes.
part of me is just tired.
So how do we get that refresh?
Slowly trying. What did so where we went this weekend to scatter the ashes was Acadia Park up in Maine, and I like hiking, and I really, really like hiking, so I'm going to go look for some more closer trails to hike because that felt good. I need the movement, I need the activity, I need to do things. I need about 13 more showers just to have hot water neutralizing all the random body sensations and everything and easing sore muscles and stuff so you can just relax into it. I want that
Mhm.
kinda uniform sensation, so it's not like, "Oh, this is an itchy strap, and this is a different itchier strap, and, oh, my hair," and, like, just everything is
Overstimulating.
noticeable. Mhm. So the it is, so at least the shower, like, unifies the stimulation, and that helps me kinda regulate it back to baseline of, "Alright, instead of this is at a 5, and this is at a 2, and that's a 3, and that's at a 9," everything goes to a 7, and then I can calm it down. So that's
Yes.
part of what I'm doing. So I'm trying to find ways to be more active. I've already been trying to work out more. I'm trying to be differently active. I'm trying to get my body regulation calmed down. And, trip away always messes up my eating and my drinking. So I'm trying to get that back to help. But that's where I'm at. I'm looking at the very physical aspect of me to try to get it back. How about you? What are you doing?
Same, working on kind of that physical, right? Like, my jobs are much more physical than I'm used to after being a therapist for a long time. So there is that active physical movement there that I am kind of learning how to manage with it. And then what else am I doing? I've been reading a lot actually, which has been very helpful. So if I am just feeling too fatigued, plus, the TBI is not helping, um, then I turn on my audiobooks. I have not been watching TV. I haven't watched TV probably in a little over a week, almost 2 weeks. Probably since the accident, I haven't really watched TV. And I feel like it's been helpful. It's not as draining because I've noticed when I'm on the computer or on my phone now, I just feel like, "Eh, don't talk to me."
Yeah. So like that pull of TV and internet, both as that I'm avoiding and as that I am disconnecting from
Mhm.
everything, which sometimes you do definitely need to. Sometimes I need that downtime of don't talk to me, don't touch me, don't look at me. Don't even think in my direction. Just don't think about me existing. I will come back, but wait for a minute for me to. Like sometimes you need that, but then when you do that and you keep disconnecting and you keep pushing the people away, what is there to bring you back?
Yeah,
Mm.
it's a rough one.
Yeah. How do we get you out of your computer screens? Well, we give Jess TBI so that she doesn't get into them.
And that is true. That is very true.
Pimps. Yeah. I think they frown on us though if we gave all our clients TBIs. I'm pretty sure there's something in the ethics about that.
So we should not bounce their heads off of windows. Got it.
Hmm. It's going to be a hard one. I have to hold up with that one.
Just kidding. I don't physically assault my clients.
No, we don't. I throw tissue boxes at clients once in a while, but I threaten to do it much more than I actually do it. So, like, this is probably the
Yeah.
strongest thing I'll ever throw at you, just so you know. And I'm a really bad aim. You're free to throw it back at me. Yeah.
I will probably miss.
I will miss. I'm a very bad aim. I don't know why, but I am. It is what it is.
Oh, goodness.
Uh-huh.
What about, let's see, what about looking at um, kind of the reasoning or the understanding why this happens? Why did this happen?
Oof, that's a question that either leads you to not necessarily religion, but to religion and to a this is how I structure my worldview, or to the exact opposite and rejecting all of that. Because we don't know these answers. Like, okay, you know, my grandparents died because they were very old. That's what happened. Different body systems shut down. We are only able to exist for so long. It's a perfectly compatible reason, but that doesn't answer why. Especially when you start doing the comparisons. Why this one and not that one? Why this person, not that person? Why this person right now and not next week, next year, 3 years from now? Not when I'm ready. Why not when I'm ready?
But when are we ready?
That's a lie. It's a myth. It's a myth that we put out there to try to keep everyone around.
Yes, this is true. And I don't even remember who I was talking to. Um, but I had said that, that the grief is selfish because it's for us, right? Like, at least in this situation, she was in pain and she is no longer in pain. I don't know what's out there. If there's a higher power, if there's another universe or plane they go off to, or if they come back as something else. I don't know. But she's not in pain anymore, at least not in this realm.
Mhm.
So the grief, the sadness of wanting her to still be here is my selfishness of not being ready to let go.
Yeah. Which is not necessarily bad. It's not bad to be selfish because that is your need. You're not ready to let her go. That goes back to the lack of control. You don't have that option. You don't have that choice. So, how do you make it make sense? You're not ready. You're feeling sad. That is yours. That is your selfish feeling. Do
Yep.
you let yourself have it? Do you bury it from yourself? Do you listen to other people going, no, she's in a better place. You should be happy now. If you're not feeling it, don't listen to other people ever.
Selfishly, I've intentionally avoided people just in general. And I think that's why I kept working. Like everybody's like, oh my gosh, you're going back to work? Yeah, because I don't want to sit and answer 500 text messages about what happened.
Or worse for me, sit completely in silence and just let my head spin out.
Exactly. I had to get back to work.
Yeah. And there is something about having that structure to cling to, having that, this is what I do, this is what I do next. And there's a lot of that in the rituals that we use to deal with grief and loss. There's a lot of that in getting back to work and getting back in your habits. Like we crave that structure when we are feeling very anxious and disconnected and lost, especially of
Mhm.
I don't know when I'm allowed to cry. I don't know when I'm allowed to laugh and make bad jokes. I don't know when I'm allowed to say I'm sad. I don't know when I'm allowed to say death is freaking terrifying. It doesn't really scare me, but it's also freaking terrifying and scares me, you know? I'm fine if I die. If other people die, it's like, no, that's
Totally
different.
fine.
It's completely different.
Exactly.
It's a very different feeling. Mm,
Oh, goodness. Although I'm
mhm.
always inappropriate. That's how I cope.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was as we were, like, preparing her body, waiting for the coroner and what have you to show up, I was still making inappropriate jokes. And then I don't even know if I should say this on a podcast. The people carrying her out, my dad told me they almost dropped her because if they said like too little, and she's a little tiny woman, like she
Oh,
wasn't big
no.
or anything.
Mhm.
But they almost dropped her, carrying her out of the house on a backboard. And like the first thing that comes out of my mouth is, well, she fell one last time in her house. And my dad was like, he just started laughing. He's like, "That's so true."
Mhm.
Because, like, the running joke was, like, she is such a strong, independent woman. She would fall all the time, and she wouldn't tell anybody. Every time they would call or, like, she would call and say, "Are you okay? I just letting you know I fell, but I'm okay, I'm okay." And then they literally would go check on her, and she was on the floor, like, stuck under the couch or the counter or whatever.
Mhm.
And it just yeah, so inappropriate things come out of him. That's
Completely, and I love them. You know, well, you just we were discussing all the merits of seating arrangements and who would have to sit upwind as we scattered the ashes, who would sit downwind. At one point, I was going to get a baggie full of just the ashes from the little fireplace that we were having, and I was going to set it up and start take pictures of it, like having coffee with grandma and grandpa, playing chess with, just take this little baggie and have it like set it at the table as we ordered our last dinner. Got nixed, but I still thought it'd be funny.
man, you should have done it anyways.
I know, and then I coulda, like, accidentally kept leaving them places and having to run back in. It's like, "Have you seen my grandparents? They're very little and they're gray. They're in a plastic bag. Have you plastic wraps gray?" Like the way we used to wrap the furniture back in the '70s? That's where my grandparents are now.
Dang it, I keep forgetting grandma.
Man,
Yeah.
she's slippery nowadays.
Huh. Oh, terrible.
Oh, we're
Hilarious.
horrible. We're horrible, but it makes
I'm
you
okay
laugh.
with it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So we're very I was gonna use fake ashes. I was gonna be very respectful to the actual ashes. Also, I think they would have laughed at that too, though, so.
Yes. Hey, if you can't laugh, should you really be here? This is not the
Nah,
podcast for you if you need things to
nah,
be appropriate all the time. Sorry,
we
friends.
do. But we need to. And, like, getting back to what I was saying, like, there's a lot in how we determine how we can respond. Like, this is grief. There's really no right way. They always, like, historically, they've tried to, all right, you have to mourn for this length of time. You wear black, and then you can just wear Batman colors. So sometimes very dark gray, and then maybe a somber color, but don't be joyful. No yellows for you anymore once you're a widow. Like, they had all of these rules, and the rules never fit everyone. They don't. Like, you have to be willing to make your own rule, and you have to be willing to shift the rule as the tides of your grief shift.
Yeah.
One day it might be, I want to talk about all the memories I'm having. The other day it might be, I want to just make my life feel normal and not be immersed in this. One day you might be crying. The other day you might be laughing. The other day you might not think of them and then suddenly realize you weren't thinking and that you should beat yourself up and cry because how dare you not be consumed by grief 24/7 forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That guilt of moving forward. It's not moving on, it's not letting go. You're moving forward
Mhm.
because you can't go backwards.
No.
I mean, we can, but where's it going to get you?
No. It's like going backwards is not going to get you anywhere. It's never the same. Staying still is not going to get you anywhere because the rest of life is moving forward.
Exactly. And it doesn't change the situation.
No. And you're always going to have the love. They're always going to have the importance they had in your life. That's not the same importance they will have in a year, 5 years, 10 years. You know, like your memories of your grandma and the struggle with your brother moving into her house, like it's going to be really, really, really hard. And then it's going to be slowly and steadily put next to what it's like having your brother in your house. It might be absolutely wonderful and he's inside and you get to come over all the time. And it might be, oh my gosh, I realize I don't like him being this close to me because he smells. So I don't know. It's your brother. I don't know.
I get along
What?
great with my
Oh, perfect.
brother.
Yeah. So that will take up space in your life. And it's not replacing. So you don't want to think of it as I have to replace this person or I have to look for something new. It's just that shift of this was really, really important. And this is now really, really important. And I miss what was and I value what is. And I can hold both of those together without guilt tripping myself that I should only miss what was and I can never love anything new again.
Right.
Your brother can never redecorate the house because it'll be different. And yeah, it will be different. But if he
But also
lives in
that's
your
true.
grandma's house, yeah, it is absolutely true. And at the same time, if he lives in your grandma's house forever, where's his life? Where's his personality? Where's his being? Some of it's going to have to stay, but maybe reorganized. Maybe.
Or hear
Mhm.
me out. He just
Mhm.
becomes a new person. He just takes on her identity.
Your brother is a ditto. Gotcha. Is this going to be like full on Mrs. Doubtfire? Are we expecting like the wig and the prosthetics here?
Well, I mean, she was a tiny woman.
Mm.
There wasn't a whole lot to her.
All right, he's got
But
to
we
go
could
on
do
the
the
diet.
wig. Just let your hair. I mean, he's got curly hair. You can just let it grow out.
Yeah, that'll work.
Wig it.
Just we'll powder it till it's the right color. We got this.
Exactly.
Make sure you let him know about this plan. Every time he tries to set up for a haircut, just sabotage it. It's like, no, your hair's not long enough yet. Mm-mm.
Mm-mm.
Can I suggest like a tighter perm? Yeah. Okay, one of those silk sleeping bonnets. It's fine.
Lucky for him, she was not a girly woman.
Yeah, see? See? It, yeah. We make the jokes because we know that's not how we should actually deal with it. That's like
Exactly. Do as we say, not as we do, people.
the jokes help though. Like saying the ridiculous things out loud that we are in some recents of our brains and our hearts hoping for, you know it wouldn't feel right. If your
Mm.
brother came out there trying to be your grandma, we would be seriously concerned.
But we would never be bored and we would always have something to laugh at.
That's true. That's true. But you would also be making a few phone calls to some of your friends, like, "Hey, I need an assessment real quick. I want to make sure this is a joke and not something to worry about."
I think he's lost it.
I don't know if he really believes he is her. I have recently it's starting to be spooky season, so I have been watching Psycho lately. We got a Northern Bates feeling here. I don't know. Yeah, yeah, no. Whoosh.
Yes.
So we would check in. We would check in. But it's like you need to. And I think having spaces like this where we can be wildly inappropriate
For
is
all the
allowed.
world to hear.
Yes. And I love that because we're wildly inappropriate for all the world to hear. And that makes it okay for your slight inappropriateness of, I miss them and I'm horribly sad. And I'm so glad because I've been the caretaker and it's hard, or I've seen what they're going through and they were hurting so much and it's hard. I'm kind of glad they're gone. And I feel like shit saying that 'cause that's a common one.
Mhm.
In that conflict over there's some relief.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh,
So we say the horrible things to give you permission to think what you're already thinking and to say it out loud and to say, I know I'm thinking and feeling this, but it's not really what I mean. It's what I'm feeling.
exactly.
And what do I do with it? We do not force your brother to be tied down and to re-dye his hair because that's not appropriate.
Dang it, you take away all the fun.
I really do. I mean, you can, but you just can't like maintain it because then it gets creepy. He's got to
That's
have like
true.
the safe word.
Okay, I won't abuse my brother.
Thank you. Sure, he appreciates that too.
Probably.
Yes.
Oh, goodness.
Mhm.
It's weird life that we live.
Oh my gosh, it is so weird. It's good. It is very good, but it is very weird. I mean, we work against our own best interests a lot of times. Like we feel
Mhm.
sad, and when you feel sad, all you want is someone to hold you and tell you it'll be okay. You want that parenting figure, that, partner figure, that friend, like someone to just gather you up like a small child and tell you everything's going to be okay. Here's your cocoa, here's your fuzzy blanket, here's your favorite movie. And instead, we pretend we're perfectly fine and try to do it all on our own.
Yep.
Mm-mm. All we want is that connection, is that support, is somebody there saying, "Hey, you're struggling. Can I take care of you a little bit?" And just, hold you close and remind you that you are still loved, you are still connected. It's okay. And instead, no, everything's fine. I don't need to chat. It was great. Yeah, well, I'll see you later. I'm gonna go. So I crashed my system. I'll fix all this at work. Don't worry. Yeah.
Who does that? I don't do that.
Child, bury ourselves in work? No. Not that I did manage to crash my entire office system the day I left. So that was fun.
Because somebody did not want to wait for help.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's literally it. I asked for help and help didn't answer immediately. And I got frustrated. So I did it on myself. And I told help to come after me and to make sure it worked. And it didn't work.
Full Sam's fault.
Nah, it's not Sam's fault. He did great. It's all my fault. Sam did great. Andrew did great fixing it. It's all my fault. That's good. I'll take it. Yeah. It's like, yep, yep, my bad. Keep fixing it. I'll keep doing it. That's how I learn. But yeah. Like working against those influences or yeah, working against that instinct is what turns our normal emotions into something. Like
Mhm.
I'm sad and I want to be comforted, but no one's allowed to comfort me and no one can know I'm sad and no one can ever feel this way. And it gets you towards depression. I'm anxious and I need reassurance and I need this to be safer, but I have to do it all alone. And if I don't, the world's gonna collapse and I have to be able to be perfect at it. And we take health anxiety and we turn it into an anxiety disorder. And you can do the same with grief. Like you're gonna bawl
Mhm.
your eyes out. You're gonna feel sad. And especially you, Jess. Like I've been processing this one for a while because it took us a while to get to this point. Yours was this weekend. And here we are podcasting with you being like, yeah, yeah, that was rough. I'm good. I'm perfectly good. We good. Absolutely. No, perfectly fine. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. I mean,
such
there's yeah. I say there's grief and then there's pathological. I can't I can't even begin to fill these holes in my life because if I do, I'm not grieving enough. And if I'm not grieving enough, I'm a bad person and their life was wasted. And whatever you believe of afterlife, reincarnation, ghost, angels, anything, whatever your version of belief is, this person that you loved is in that form looking at you, ready to smack you upside the head. It's like, what do you mean? I wanted you miserable forever.
yes. And I think that that could be why I am continuing to move forward because I know that she would be like, why are you sitting here crying over me? You have a life to
Mhm,
live. Get out there and do the things that you are capable of doing.
mhm. At the same time, why not both? I can do awesome, amazing things while bawling my eyes out,
And I do.
not driving. Yeah.
I am a crier. I will put that up there.
Mhm. It's like a routine. Cry. Your tear it cleans out your eyes. It's a wonderful thing to do.
Yes.
Yeah.
What are you going to do for self care to get yourself realigned before going back to work?
not break anything more at work. Mentally, I go to think of work as like, oh yeah, let me jump into that and away from me and away from the actual self care, which is
Mhm.
something I think a lot of us do. But yeah, like that's the big thing. Taking the time to slow down and to say, how am I? And if I do that too much, the first thing that comes to mind is I'm exhausted on a cellular level and about to crash, which is not bad. I need to go to bed early tonight. I need to crash. That's
Yeah.
fine. I need to go to bed early for like 3 weeks solid if I can let myself. That's a
Take
good
3
first
weeks
step.
off, so just lay in bed.
Mhm. Absolutely. I say I have 3 weeks solid in bed. I have re I we have stocking patterns and they're you can't see my hands longer than they're like knee socks. Not really. They're very big. They're not supposed to be that big, but they are very big.
Mhm.
And I got the pattern from my grandma, and I'm slowly working on making the ones for the people in the family that don't have one, and I finally took the pattern and managed to convert it to the way my brain works, which is very linear and written out versus having a pretty colorful chart. For some reason, like, I just can't do the chart. I have to check off every digital box. So I got it nice and so I can make all the lines. So I've gotten that done. So part of my self-care is knitting stockings, and it has that connection. It's like, this is a skill that is something my grandmother always did. It's not something she taught me, but it's something that she always did. And by the time it came around of, oh, I bet I could do that. I'd like to learn that. And she had not been able to knit after a while. So I do, however, have all of her stuff. So there are things I have made for family and for friends and for people that have yarn that was her. There's needles that I'm using that are hers. So there's just these little pieces that I get to keep distributing out in the world of this is something I can pass on.
Mhm.
This is a piece of this love and of this legacy that makes me sad, but also feels really good to connect with. And when I do these and when I make these and I pass it on, the people that I'm making them for, they get it because they are a part of that too. And they see what it is. So there's that I have connected to you. I'm, doing this new hobby and sharing these patterns and we are building new memories that have their base even before then. Like she knit these, but her mother-in-law knit them originally. And it just kind of keeps going back like that. So that's part of the self-care actually is slow down. How tired am I? And make those connections. For me, I need that and not
This
first hold back and a shower. Sleep first and a shower and connect.
Good.
What about you?
Oh,
Maybe I
what about you?
I know, but I kinda, like you too, like, you're my friend or something, so
Dang it.
Mhm.
Um, hmm. What does my self-care look like right now?
Mhm.
I work crazy hours the rest of this week. I am off on Saturday.
Good.
So my self-care is instead of finding more work to do, I am gonna go homecoming dress shopping with my girls.
Oh, that sounds fun.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a lot of
So
fun. Mhm.
that's what we'll do. We'll go dress shopping and then we usually go to our favorite sushi place.
Mhm.
And those 2 are crazy together. So we just laugh and we have fun. That's gonna be my self-care.
They're great kids, you have amazing kids. Yeah.
They are. They're a lot of fun.
Mhm. And I love it because it's gonna make you laugh, and
Yes.
it sounds very similar to me because it's that same I'm missing this person back here, so I'm gonna
Mhm.
connect with these people here and pass on the sense of love, of fun, of sushi.
Mhm.
Mhm. Yeah.
Absolutely.
How do we keep those connections and those strings going and make them stronger?
Yep. Because you never know what could happen.
That's true.
Life can change in an instant. So
Heck
can't
yeah,
plan
heck
it right
yeah.
away.
No, we don't have control over it, and that makes us all very upset, but we
Mhm.
never have control over it. So we do kind of just got to figure that part out and
Exactly.
let it be. Let ourselves be sad, let ourselves grieve, let ourselves mourn, acknowledge the anxiety that comes with it, and actually reach out and get the help we need for it. Say the dumb things. See who laughs at the dumb things. Say more dumb things with them. Check on them as well. And then start a podcast.
And that's where we're at.
Yeah, pretty much.
And see.
Yes. All right. So, with that, anything else you want to add to this? I think we pretty much covered everything we had to say.
I do. I think so. I don't have anything else for tonight.
Well, thank you all for joining us. I know it's definitely feels like a lower energy one for us, and yet still the dumb things are falling out of our mouths.
We're good
You
at
could
that.
tell though. You could tell we both had a weekend here. You could tell.
That we're both pretty tired.
Yeah.
That
And that's
fatigue
all
is
right.
kicking in.
Mhm. So I'm going to go to bed, which will be lovely because we record these. It's like 9 o'clock at night now. And thank you all for joining us. Thank you all for putting up with us. If you want to share what you're doing coping, how bad you think we are personally doing coping, how much we got right, wrong, what dumb things you have said at funerals and or celebrations of lives and or ash scatterings, feel free. You can find us anywhere if you want to listen to us. We are on Spotify and Apple Podcasts with the Healing Pod. We are on YouTube if you want to see our lovely faces and how exhausted we both look. We're beautiful. We're beautifully exhausted. You
Exactly.
can find same thing. You can find us on YouTube at the Healing Pod. And where else can they find us, Jess?
We are also trying to build up our community in Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Although we have not been as active on there recently with all the things happening, if you send us messages, we do get notifications and we do respond.
That's true. And we did get stickers, which I have been strategically placing in places because they're cute and I like them. They're fun.
Yes,
Stickers. So if you love us enough and you join us on Patreon and give me your address, I'll mail you a sticker because why not? Stickers are fun.
exactly.
Yes. So basically, anywhere, just a little freebie here, anywhere you can find us, Healing Pod, Navigating Anxiety and Mental Health Together, just Google us. We're out there. Drop a message, say hi, tell us how you're doing, tell us if you want us to talk more, talk less, whatever. We might listen. We probably won't, but we'll always talk back to you.
Exactly.
Yes. But thank you all for joining us. I hope you have a lovely evening and we will talk to you again in a couple of weeks.
Good night, friends.